All right, I think we're live. Live from North Fort Myers. My name is Reverend Denise Schubert. We're here for Sunday Night Alive, or Living Between Two Worlds. I'm not sure. I think we're going back to Sunday Night Alive after the holidays. Anyway, so happy that you're joining me. I'm so excited for tonight's broadcast. I'm so excited to be with you. So take a minute. If you are here with me, take a moment to say hello. So I know that I'm not just talking into this camera and into this room. Now, listen, I did get a little bit of flack last week from my background. So I'm now with my house. That's it. You get me in my house without too much fancy stuff and a little lion mane, a little lion fur behind. So we'll just keep it simple. Hi, Sandy. So it's good. Listen, the holidays can be very, very difficult for people. For many people, actually, it can be really hard for a number of reasons. It stirs up the past. It stirs up grief for people lost and time lost and families lost. It brings up the things we resist kind of right in our face, really. So it just can be a very hard time for people. It seems to bring out the best and the worst in us. But now just think about it for a minute. I can relate back to this myself. No matter how spiritual you are or think you are, try spending 2 or 3 days with your siblings and your parents, right? If there's anything left inside of you to heal, to surrender, to release, to embrace, it will show up there almost faster than it will show up anywhere, really. So I thought it would be a good idea to see if we can find a practice and some thinking that will help us navigate this holiday season with more effortlessness and more grace. Also, what occurred to me to do will also ensure 2023 to be a way better year than 2022 if we can take it seriously, because the work that I want to explore with you tonight is work that I love and that I have shared with many spiritual communities that I've been the leader of, and continue always to use it in my own daily practice to say, so what's going on here? What are you saying? Listen to what you're saying. And this work that I'm talking about, well, let me pray us in first. So let me just speak a word of blessing upon us before we dive too deep. So listen, if this background is working better for you, you can tell me. You can just say it's better. If the sound is okay, you can say the sound is good. I'm striving for perfection here on how this comes over on the other side of my house. So, but for now, let me take a moment. Let's just take a minute and turn within, to take a pause and a breath in the middle of our day. Whatever this day has been for you, whether it's been easy or hard or busy or peaceful, whatever it's been, there's never a moment when turning within is not a good thing to do. Because as we turn within to the place within us that is always at peace, the place within us that is the source of our joy, the source of our prosperity, the source of our health. Truly, as spiritual beings having a spiritual experience, we are the masters of our own safari, our own journey. And so I just bless our time together. I know that if we're taking the time out to be together, to talk and to listen, to share, that something good is happening here. And so I'm grateful in advance for all of it. We allow it to be, and so it is. Thank you. So the work that I'm speaking about is really Will Bowen's work. And Will Bowen's work is a book. For me, he has other work. He's also a New Thought minister. Casey. He's a New Thought minister, and so believes in what I believe and believes in what you believe, and teaches what we teach, which is the power of the mind and the power and the presence of unconditional love, which is that power and presence that we call God, or some other word that works better for you. But he wrote a book called A Complaint-Free World. And in this book, he talks about what the world would be like if we all stopped complaining. Now, I think the holidays are a very, very good time to take a look at this work, because it's really easy to not only might you be complaining more, especially if you're with family, but you might be around people who are complaining more and find it hard. So either way, I think that looking at this tonight and talking about it will make a difference. Also keep in mind that, I forgot that Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve are on Sunday nights. So this will be our last connection until after the first of the year. So whatever it is tonight needs to carry you all the way into your holiday season. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. And I wish I was with you in some church somewhere, some center somewhere. I really do wish I was with you, but I'll be with you in spirit. So Will posited in his book, idea number 1 is that there is too much complaining in the world. And I think, I can so relate to that in the environment I'm in. Now, sometimes when I've been in a New Thought environment or church, people are on their good behavior, so they're not complaining as much around me because they know I'm watching, or, But right now I live in a community of 55 plus manufactured home community, and I'm surrounded by a lot of people who don't practice these principles, and I'm telling you, everything's wrong. There's a lot of complaint. You go to the swimming pool for a peaceful afternoon, I don't know, not so peaceful. So Will Bowen's first idea is there is too much complaining in the world, and his second idea is the world is not the way we like it to be. So he drew, in his wonderful book, he drew a correlation between complaining and the world, or complaining and our experience of the world. It's actually complaining in the actual world, but the correlation being that somehow the world would be better if we didn't complain so much. Now, he says, in my opinion, there is a correlation between these two things. Now, think about it. Just think about it for yourself. How much, if we were to take a pie, we had to carve the pie into pieces, how much of that pie, which would represent the time in our lives, the hours we're awake during the day, or, yeah, that's good, the hours that we are awake during the day, like how much of that time do we spend complaining, talking about what we don't like, what we don't want, what's not working, how bad the stock market is, the real estate market, how it's in flux, the consequences of the hurricane. Like, how much time do we spend in that day looking at what isn't working? And how much time do we spend on praise or thanksgiving or gratitude, or for what we have, for who we love, for our expectations about the future, for grace? Lily Tomlin once said that man created language just to satisfy his need to complain. So I think it's worthy. By the way, Will Bowen describes complaint as, let me give you a dictionary. The dictionary definition of complaining is to express dissatisfaction, pain, uneasiness, censure, resentment, grief, and fault, to tell of one's pains and ailments, to make a formal accusation. Yikes. So to complain is to really express your discontent with whatever it is you're expressing your discontent in. Now, so interesting. I actually have a little bit of gratitude thing coming up here, which is just I'm kind of wanting to share right now, which is I went to a party on Friday night, this past Friday. So yesterday? No, today's Sunday. 2 nights ago, I went to a party. And last year I went to the same party at the same people's house, except last year I had 6 weeks earlier just had my hip replaced, and 6 weeks earlier just had a stroke. So I couldn't drive, so I Ubered down to their house and we got a hotel room and went to the party, and I was on a cane. I was walking on a cane, but only 6 weeks into it, you know. So I remember the experience of the party, which was wonderful. But this year, I went to the same party, and for those of you who don't know, I bought my car back from the people who bought my car when I left for Africa. So I drove myself from North Fort Myers to Naples, which is an hour, to the party with no cane and no deficit. I was so grateful coming home. It's like, oh my God, this is why I do what I do, because this time next year, your life could be completely different. And I think that has something to do with these principles, something to do with stepping into a space of increased positivity versus negativity. And it's not easy to do because the world is so negative. You know, there is too much complaining, and the world doesn't look the way we want the world to look. So in that correlation, the question is the correlation between complaining and the state of the world be not what we want it to be? Is that a true correlation? But the more personal question is there a correlation between your complaining and your life not being the way you want it to be? So it's an interesting, I've been through this work many times, so it's an interesting question to posit, right? Like, does what your world look like have anything to do with how much you live in complaining and how much you live in praising? Right? How much you live in complaining or how much you live in praising. Now, I'm going to show you a quote that I found for you by James Allen. He says, you are today where your thoughts have brought you. You will be tomorrow where your thoughts take you. Now, this is a very profound quote, and also a little hard if you still are clinging to a story that says the reason your life is the way it is today is because of someone, some situation, some condition from your past. Which, if you've been watching the 7 non-negotiables for a life of spiritual power, you will, I don't think we've really covered it fully yet, but one of the things you must surrender, somewhere along the way is this idea that you cannot have a happy life or a peaceful life or a glorious life because of what someone or something did to you. So what we're wanting to do here is to change the way that we are. I think it was even Abraham Hicks, who said it took 10 million thoughts to get you here. It's going to take 10 million thoughts to get you somewhere else. If you don't think new thoughts, you will not get somewhere else. You will have this. If you don't change you, if you don't change yourself, change your thinking, change your attitude, change your belief system, change your energy. If you don't do that, nothing will change. You will be in exactly the same place a year from now that you are in right now, which, by the way, could be a very good place. Now, even if that were true, though, I would say to you, why not evolve? Why not ask yourself the question, the answer to which might change everything for you. So be open to this idea of monitoring your complaining. Because it could be subtle. By the way, spiritual people do complain. but we complain about people who aren't spiritual. So spiritual people complain about, okay, so vegetarians complain about the people who eat meat. Uh, uh, New Thought people complain about the more conservative people, but we think, New Thought people think we're not complaining. We're just stating fact. But whenever you are expressing discontent or judgment or uh, bashing someone, belittling them, diminishing them, you are not in a spiritual alignment. Sorry, you're just not. So anyway, so a key to this philosophy, faith, and way of life, which is New Thought, which includes Centers for Spiritual Living, includes unity churches, includes agape, and is that consciousness is everything. So it's not like matter was here and it's what's real. So we've moved beyond the atom being what's real, the physical being what's real. We really have moved beyond it. And I know that not everybody thinks we moved beyond it, and that some people are still catching up, but the quantum physics really has proven pretty unequivocally in my mind that consciousness is the root of all form, that the unseen is the source of everything that is seen, that the tool of creation is creative, committed, conscious thought. I'll say that again. The tool of creation is creative, committed, conscious thought, not unconscious thought, not negative thinking, but creative, conscious, committed thought. There's a beautiful quote that I have also been quoting. Now, Phineas Quimby was truly considered the father of New Thought. And he said, my mind is matter in solution, and matter is mind in form. So mind is matter in solution. So meaning that mind, and by the way, mind does not mean your brain. It means the creative field of unlimited possibility that we live, move, and have our beingness in, which we think into, which when we think into that field, it tends to reproduce that which we are thinking. So if you think into this field called mind, negative thoughts, negative outcome will happen. If you think into this field, positive thoughts, positive outcomes will happen. Now, it gets a little more complicated than that because we're not here thinking all by ourselves. We're thinking as a collective. So yes, it does matter. I mean, if you have 10 people and 9 people are thinking war and one person's thinking peace, you will see more war than peace. What we need is enough people thinking peace that it outweighs people thinking war. But you can't worry about that. All you can worry about is you. So mind is matter in solution, meaning that which is going to manifest into the world first starts in mind. And once you see something in form, and by that something, it doesn't mean a car or a table or a rock. It also means a state of being, a state of mind, a feeling, your emotions. All of that is the manifestation of consciousness. I know. I like teaching this stuff. I know. You have to wrap your mind around it. So this means that that what we think, we become. It means that we are shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think. So obviously, if this is true, we are shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think. Then we need to think more intentionally. So let's go back to this gratitude thing now. I mostly want to lay down the science. So the science is that complaints produce conditions for further complaints. Your negativity, let's use negativity, pessimism, uh, um, doubting Thomases, negative expectations go before you and ultimately create the conditions in which you live your life. So if we can just pause it for a moment that, okay, maybe, let me say that maybe that's true. Maybe I'm not the victim of circumstances. Maybe the reason my life is the way it is not because of my mother and father, or because of my ex-husband who divorced me, or because of, I had a lisp when I was young. Maybe the way I think about all of that has more to do with what's happening than that itself. That would be a humongous leap forward into your evolution as a spiritual being, and to actually altering your life. Consciousness of negativity, or for looking for what is wrong or broken, cannot possibly lead to anything good. It cannot lead to world peace. It cannot lead to saving children. It cannot lead to a happy, peaceful life for you. So complaining, again, means no. So if you were to eliminate complaining from your life, Will Bowen outlined these things: no gossip, no complaining, no whining, and no bashing. I think I added no bashing, but no bashing means don't talk about people in a negative way. Don't trash your best friend. Don't trash your boss. Don't trash the person driving a car. That would be complaining. So now I'm going to tell you the really great news. Will Bowen says, and I agree wholeheartedly, that none of this is the only thing that matters here is what comes out of your mouth. So it doesn't matter if you think it. It only matters if you say it. Isn't that great news? And some of you might say, well, doesn't that just go fly in the face of what you just said? And I would say, no, it doesn't. So he says that your brain is a manufacturing, it's like a manufacturer. And it's, for most people, it manufactures negativity, not because we're bad people, but because that's what we've been trained. That we have grown up in an environment that says, look for what's wrong, what's missing, what's broken, never be satisfied, never be enough, always be looking for what is wrong. It's the air we breathe. And he says, so that's what your brain manufactures. And that when you give it voice, your mouth, your speaking is like the customer. So that when you speak, what goes through your brain, you've bought it. And as with any industry, if you keep buying what they're selling, it's going to keep making it. Are you with me? So he says, just don't say it. Do not speak it. You can think it all you want, just don't speak it. Now, in his program, he's got these purple bracelets, which you put on your wrist. And then whenever you break the rule, and you catch yourself breaking the rule of complaining, you swap the bracelet to the other wrist. And you keep doing that. And he actually does it, I think it's a 21-day challenge. Like, can you go 21 days without complaining, gossiping, bashing, whining? And people cannot do it for right away. It takes, I think 21 days is how long it takes to create a new habit. But he says that if you stop buying the negativity that your brain is putting out, that the manufacturer will retool. So you can practice being more positive. You can practice, ultimately you might say nothing for a moment, but it doesn't matter. You can just be. But there are ways you can look for things to praise. You can look for ways to say thank you to people. he's got a list of some words. So instead of calling something a problem, call it an opportunity. Instead of saying, oh, I have to go to the store, say, I get to go to the store. I get to go to church this morning, right? Because the I have to is kind of a negative, a negativity. Now, one of the things you want to do is shift from negative expectation to positive expectation. Most people don't expect good things to happen. They expect the shoe to drop on the other foot. They expect, uh, they play it safe because they just don't expect good things to happen. You want to live in positive expectancy, which simply just says, whatever's going to happen, I expect to like it. Whatever the outcome is here, I'm going to know that it works together for everyone's good. You can look for blessings. Just look for them. What has blessed you? Like being able to drive to a party just gave me so much joy and hope and fulfillment and validation also. Like the work works. Doing the work works. You can look for reasons and people and things to appreciate. And you can just experience and express gratitude for all things big and small. Now, sometimes life throws us lemons. That does happen. It really does. But what I would say, if you're in a bad place, I would say a couple of things. One is get some help. Talk to somebody. There are many, many of us who do spiritual life coaching where we're here really to hold in prayer and in truth where your life is. And it's very powerful and wonderful. And prayer, positive prayer to align yourself. So or read a book. Buy Will's book. Buy somebody else's book. Go online. There are so many great resources online. But I would say just practice not giving voice to anything you don't want to create out in the world. Don't give it voice. You don't have to pretend you're positive. Just don't express the negativity. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. But if you do this, you will go through your holidays with your family much better if you don't react or don't get triggered. Or if you do react and you do get triggered inside, just take some very deep breaths, go for a walk outside, have another little bit of wine, remember kind of the truth that is that you're about changing the world and you're about changing yourself. And you know that whining, complaining, gossiping, bashing can't get you there. It can't get us there. So, in other words, well, you don't need these words. Complaining is the language of a victim. It's just what it is. Complaining is, and is also flies in the face of spiritual truth. Spiritual truth meaning, if I believe that spirit is in, through, and as me, and I believe that spirit is in, through, and as you, and if I believe that spirit is in, through, and as all beings, that means everyone. It has to mean everyone. It can't mean you and not them. Because guess what? If you do that, then you've created separation and all the things that can come out of feeling separation, loneliness, depression, disease, all of that cannot heal itself, cannot be resolved. So just remember what it takes to really have the life that you want to have. So we don't have purple bracelets, but you could take a rubber band and I would do it tomorrow. Take a rubber band and vow when you wake up in the morning that you're going to make it through the whole day without complaining, whining, gossiping, or bashing another person. And if you fall short and you do, just move the bracelet to the other wrist, or the Rubber band to the other wrist. And then if you do it later, an hour later, you move it back. If you have to move it 500 times, move it. Remember, this is it's a spiritual practice. You're working to accomplish something. Yes. So that's really our lesson for today. And if you as we strive really to bring as much happiness and peace into our personal lives as we can, and to the people around us, to feel cared for, we're really about fulfilling the mandate of our spiritual identity to be a center of love. And to the degree we don't do that, we suffer and the world around us suffers. So 1 year from now, you can have a completely different life. You will retool the manufacturer in your brain so that you begin to, it's not just thinking, by the way, and don't minimize it. It's not like, oh, I'm thinking happy thoughts. Remember our, remember that things come from thought. Consciousness precedes forms. Forms flow from consciousness. So it's not just thinking, you are creating every time. Well, you're creating all the time. Actually, 24/7, your whole entire life, you're creating. And you're creating by what you predominantly feel and think about. And so this practice helps you to change it. So I wanted to share one more. I did this quote last week, but I love it so much. I think it's perfect for the holidays. Don't let people pull you into their storm. Pull them into your peace. Isn't that an awesome? That is an awesome quote. So when you're with your families, your parents, your co-workers, wherever you are, pull people into your peace, and it will be such a much more wonderful experience for you, I promise. So before I pray, a couple of things. Now, one is that, so we're on a 2-week hiatus for Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, so I will not see you again for 3 weeks. 3 weeks from today, I will see you. Remember, I'm doing my Life of Power 12-week session. That'll also be dark for 2 weeks. I'm going to do it this coming Tuesday. We're going to do the spiritual skill of creating context. And then we'll be dark until after the first of the year as well. So if you have not been doing this, you can go back and catch up on the 2 you've missed, or just come right into this one. It will be equally as wonderful. And if you want to, if you feel compelled to make a love offering to me, to the Life of Spiritual Power, you can do that through my website at deniseschubert.com/donations, PayPal or Zelle to revdschubert@gmail. And somebody also asked me this week to please make sure I post my address. So that's on here as well if you don't like doing things online. So that is it for the day, I think. I'm gonna do an affirmative prayer with us right now. Again, so happy to see you. So who else? Oh, hi, Lonnie. Hi. All right. So if you have any questions or if you need anything, please feel free to get in touch with me. I am here. I'm actually traveling to see family over Christmas and New Year's, but then I'll be back here after the first of the year, doing what we love to do. All right. So just turn within again for a moment and just check in and see you're willing to take on the challenge. You may already be here, honestly, though it's very subtle for us. It's very subtle, but it can be the source of why things aren't working. So if certain areas aren't working, just look to see if you can bring a little more positive energy, uh, positive words, positive words. And I know it's kind of a funny thing to say, it doesn't matter what you think, but really what matters is what you do and how you are. So you can say all the nice things, all the positive things you want, but if you don't really feel them, then then there isn't any real power behind it. What's going to manifest is who you really are. All right, so let me just speak my word for you. So turn within for a moment one more time before we end our evening together. Just to allow a little bit of gratitude to bubble up to the surface for this little Sangha circle that we have here tonight, this spiritual community, this taking time out for yourself and to connect with me and each other, interested in an interested inquiry into the nature of life. Simply connecting into that space and place and dimension within you that is pure positivity, that is whole, perfect, and complete, nothing broken, nothing missing. There's nothing that could have ever happened to any of us that could mar the perfection at the center of our being. And so it is from that place that I know that we are connected to each other. It is from that place that I know the universe is a good universe, a friendly universe, a loving universe, awaiting our recognition of that so that we can begin to manifest our lives in accordance with that love and that beauty and that joy and that awe and that wonder. And so the word I'm speaking for you from the depths of my conviction and faith is that you move out of this time together tonight empowered to make a shift, empowered to allow divine guidance to walk with you as you walk your walk in life, as you talk your talk, as you meet with people, as you move through this holiday season. I pray and hold for you the most loving, peaceful, joyful holiday season you've ever had. Pure positivity, pure joy, pure love. And that negativity cannot even get near you because you have love and joy dripping out of your pores. And I know that this makes a difference to you and to the people that you love. And so I'm grateful. I'm happy and grateful to speak this word, knowing that the words I'm speaking are landing on fertile soil called your consciousness, so they cannot help but be made manifest. I'm grateful for you and this time we have together. Peace on earth and peace to you until the next time we meet. And so it is. Amen. All right, beloveds, have a wonderful holiday season. I love you. I will see you. I'll just see you down the road whenever I see you down the road. Okay, be well.